Greetings, this is Gilles Mansillon. I come to read the introduction of my book. I will read all 13 chapters as they get translated. It is called Beyond the Veils of Illusion, I Am, by Gilles Mansillon. Guided Manual to Space and Interdimensional Travel, Law of One. Text and illustration by Gilles Mansillon, dedicated to Marianda. Introduction. Beloved... It's the translation before I start says not perfect, but it's close enough. I hope you'll find it interesting. Beloved human family, it is with great joy that I come to you today to discuss a creative process and spiritual science that I've been practicing for many years, which is the sacred process of space and interdimensional travel. I will also use this opportunity to briefly discuss some of the essential principles of unity consciousness. The necessity and urgency to address those issues is coming as a result of our planet entries into a new age of light. Those new energies are now forcing many people to re-evaluate the validity of their belief system in order to begin to incorporate the more spiritual nature, their more spiritual nature within their daily life and physical activity. Humanity as a whole is about to awaken to the light of the soul, note number one. And for many, this awakening is perceived as an accentuation of the black and white nature of life. The reason for that is that all individual and collective discordance that we have carried within ourselves, that we have accumulated throughout our whole life and all our many past lives on the earth, needs to be identified, recognized, released and transmuted so that we may become eternally free from them and move into the next step of our collective evolution, which will be our return to full consciousness, not number two, and the beginning of a new age of life and a golden age for our planet and for humanity. All beings are already being affected by those new energies on the atomic and cellular levels, but very few people understand how to react when having to deal with those new energies, because the rigidity of our mental structure and the restrictive belief system which I'm sorry. And our restrictive belief system, which keeps projecting us into a cycle of temporal illusion, note number three, that we call reality or life. For some, living is a charmed experience. Life is but a dream, a never-ending path of joy and fulfillment. But for many, it is a nightmare of separation, where they have been educated to live and survive day after day in a system based on debt, taxation and inflation. In this collective belief system, humanity has been indoctrinated and enslaved into an economical system that always benefits a tiny minuscule minority of people in spite of all others. I will return in detail to that which I believe to be the ins and outs of our geopolitical world, and to offer avenue towards release of the economical and political problems of our time in my next book, to address those very delicate but important problems of our world and society. Note number one, the soul. The individual soul is a pure spark of sacred light that is neither material nor spiritual, but a divine cell of memory within our diamond core. Our soul is eternal and exists beyond the physical world, at the frontier of time, energy and matter. She is a vast cosmic entity of which our individual personality is a fragment or a facet. In truth, there is only one and unique divine soul, that which each and every one of us is an extension, an integral, essential, fundamental, unique and eternal part. Note number two, full consciousness. It is the immortal state of consciousness when our four bodies, mental, emotional, physical and astral spiritual, are in perfect harmony, are perfectly harmonized, integrated and aligned. That implies the fusion between the divine feminine and the divine masculine within ourselves, and the acquisition of mental and spiritual capacities like the possession of one or more light bodies and the complete access to psychic powers such as empathy, telepathy, teletransportation and others. When we become fully conscious of our past lives, we then become fully conscious of our past life, and we no longer require a subconscious, but we must still evolve to access the more spiritual planes of the universe. It is also the state of consciousness that we return to during our sleep cycle, but that we must forget before we wake up in the morning. Not number 3, temporal illusion. It is a concept perfectly explained by Plato in the Republic through his famous allegory of the cavern. I go back to my reading. We are seeing the dawn of a global awakening process that will allow us to see the cause of many dysfunction that creates much unnecessary suffering, and we will have to address them with courage and benevolence in order to return to the divine order. In fact, we are on the brink of the greatest evolutionary shift that humanity has ever come to know during its long evolution on this planet. And if God or the spirit of the universe had not chosen to intervene, we would have gone into a complete and rapid process of total self-destruction, because we are living in a society that is overpopulated by competitive energies that seeks to pillage and strip at the earth from all its natural resources as fast as possible, and for the sole cause of profit. Those activities are being perpetuated constantly by most multinational corporations with the support and protection of their government, without ever coming into the understanding or the realization that Gaia, note number 4, our beloved planet, is a real person, and that those precious resources are our vital organs. This sort of materialistic model of society found its apogee as a dark age in the middle of the 20th century, when we had created enough impoverished uranium bombs to destroy the Earth 900 times. This was without counting on the forces of light, without counting on you and on me as well, because through an act of divine grace and by miracle, our planet has escaped that apocalypse or self-destruction. But now we can say that things have shifted towards the light since that time, even though those positive changes are not being perceived and seen by all just yet on this side of the veil. That being said, now that the victory of life is guaranteed and that the collective ascension is assured, it becomes necessary to prepare the whole humanity for the incredible development that will follow. Note number 4, Gaia. It is the name of our Mother Earth and the spirit of our planet. Our Mother Gaia is an eternal spirit of archangelic and multidimensional status and nature. She is getting ready to ascend into a higher level of galactic reality and of integration within the light. She is also known by many names like Terra, Ura, Urantia. I'll return to my reading. We all have chosen to come and incarnate here on the earth in a physical body at this particular time in order to be part of this transformation. And our conscious energy, our active and benevolent participation is also fundamentally essential to the evolution and the ascension of the human collective. In truth, we are about to leave the illusion of duality and the separation of the third and fourth dimension, note number 5 and 6, to progress into the unity of the divine light of the fifth dimension, note number 7. I must note that when I speak of dimension in this book, I do not refer to geographical or geometrical dimension, but densities of cosmic experiences. Our ability to live within one or another dimension is relative to our vibratory frequency, our spiritual capacity, or our understanding and comprehension of the divine law. I'm going to read the note. Note number 5, third dimension. It is a density of experience that is the physical reality adopted by humanity at this time. It is perceived as real by the ego personality through the 5 senses of the physical body. It is a dimension that is made of atom and particle that maintains the idea of separation in time and space. We can note that the third dimension was originally created to experiment diversity in the realm of the physical and the biological in order to advance the evolutions of souls and not to create a fight of opposition between good and evil. Note number 6, fourth dimension. It is an invisible dimension that is faster in frequency than the material reality of the third dimension. we presently reside, third dimension we presently reside in. It is the dimensions of dreams that we fully experience during our sleep, and the dimensions of emotion. It is an astral dimension that is far more expansive, more enjoyable and pleasant to live in if and when we are able to establish ourselves in the upper part of it. The fourth dimension is a transitory dimension which innumerable reality converge and emerge without cease to eventually manifest in the physical and temporal world of the third dimension. Note number 7. Fifth dimension. It is a dimension of crystalline light that exists beyond the astral plane of the fourth dimension. It is also the dimension that is dominant on the inner plane of our planet. It is a crystalline dimension where the divine love is recognized as an eternal force and perceived constantly by those who are accessing it or are living within it. In that dimension, we no longer live on the cross of matter on the horizontal axis of time, but in the pillar of light on the vertical axis of the multidimensional matrix of the interconnected universe. The fifth dimension is not the ultimate goal of cosmic existence, but the realization of our eternal connection to all that is. It is the dimension that the whole of humanity is preparing to integrate within the next 200 years. The upper part of that dimension opens the gate to the sixth dimension. Return to my reading. We are about to learn or remember that we are in truth eternal and divine beings that have chosen to have a human experience, to live in fact many such incarnations in the physical plane on the earth, as well as on other planets and other dimensions of reality. We are in truth sovereign beings who have accepted to forget temporarily our divine nature, who we truly are, in order to learn, to grow, to evolve through this unique experience and sacred life process. Therefore, the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself. We all have voluntarily chosen to forget who we are in truth, to come to live in the illusion of linear time so that we may serve our soul and the collective soul. It is becoming now increasingly important and necessary to understand the nature of the forces that are at work and behind those changes so that we may enjoy the process, live and participate into life with joy and serenity, rather than to continue to struggle through our ego in a fight of opposition and duality in the world of illusion and separation. This present acceleration of all energy in the collective consciousness of humanity is a cosmic event of extreme magnitude and a process that will continue exponentially until the objective of planetary ascension will finally be reached. Although this transformation is not yet obvious to everyone just yet, very soon no one will be able to deny the fact that both on a personal level as well as on the collective level. It is not an end of the world, but the end of a cosmic cycle in duality and the beginning of a new age of light, an age of freedom and happiness to all those who choose to follow our Mother Earth in our evolution towards ascension. We are about to discover that we are only limited by our own belief, our own desire, and our own life choices. The problem is that we have been living in this illusion of time for so long that we have forgotten our true creative power and our eternal truth, and the eternal truth of our soul. Since we do not have at this time the ability to perceive into the world of non-being or the invisible world of energy, most people are now holding the false belief that life only exists on the earth, only on the level of the biological and material, when in truth the physical world, notwithstanding its magnificent and grandiose manifestation, is only a minuscule part of the real universe and of ourselves. We have been educated to believe in the solitary and ephemeral nature of life, when in fact the true nature of life has been, is now, and will always be inclusive, eternal, and infinite. Such is the nature of the illusion. We are soon to understand that the whole universe is abundant with life, and that we are the source of our own experience, the creator of all the circumstances within our life, whether they are perceived as positive or negative. It is inevitable that the human community becomes eventually informed that there are numerous benevolent civilizations and star beings that are living with us and around the Earth, as well as on the inner plane, and that since the beginning of time. On top of those benevolent influence of our brothers and sisters from nearby star nation, there are those that are coming from all parts of the galaxy and even from other galaxies that have come to participate in this sublime cosmic adventure that we are about to embark here upon Earth. Our planet is right now a focal point of universal interest because our evolution and that of our Mother Earth will also have an essential and fundamental influence on the ascension of the whole universe. So it is with great joy and anticipation that I wish to come to you today to share a few ideas, techniques, thought and spiritual tools so that I may participate and guide more directly those who are interested in those things that are yet beyond the present day level of perceptual understanding. In the following discussion, I will share some of my experience, and I hope that those will assist you and will help you to discover the light of your soul, because such is the only aspect that is truly significant. The divine love and eternal unity of life that I am speaking about cannot be fully perceived in the external world until we have created this reunification inside of ourselves. Never forget to always filter through your own heart every information that comes to you, no matter what the circumstances, so that you may feel and sense whether or not it resonates positively or negatively with you before adopting any idea, thought or belief. As Adama from Telos said, true freedom comes from within and is born of the security of love. In any event, I hope this document will help you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness important information about your true self and many parts of yourself that are still dormant within your DNA, not number 8. I hope you will enjoy this book and that you will find in it information that will help you to improve the quality of your life's expression, as well as to make your experience on this earth easier and more pleasant. I hope that you will consider this information deserving to be expressed, integrated and shared with those whom you may chance to meet and those who could have interest in those things that are yet beyond our present day level of reality, even if they are not necessarily religious believers. It is necessary to note that the ideas expressed in this discussion is not associated with any specific religion or religious teaching, but are the fruits of my own direct and personal experience. This information is not presented with the intention to conflict with any religion and or any scientific belief, but are introduced in order to expand the limit of our present-day knowledge and to push the peripheral barrier of what may be acceptable to think or to believe. Those ideas must be just as revolutionary to the religious consciousness as they are to the scientific mind, and so it is fair to assume that many people will not be able to accept them right away, as they are certainly avant-gardist in the materialistic society that we live in. Those ideas will probably appear to many people who live exclusively outside of themselves in the illusion of time as unbelievable or unimaginable. They are just as incredible as to say that the Earth was not the center of the universe, that it was round and it was revolving around its axis just a few centuries ago. I also need to mention that although this document will address many universal concepts and deep spiritual issues, and resolve some of the eternal truths and reveal some of the eternal truths of God, it does not have the pretension to cover those subject matter, just to unveil or introduce them. Those subjects are in truth too complex, too subtle, too personal, to be expressed in their entirety by the means of any language. The fact that those ideas are being introduced should incite you, inspire you, and encourage you in your own process of self-revelation in order to investigate them for yourself, and so to allow you to engage your own consciousness into this experience in order to discover your own truth in your own time and in your own way. I have decided to start this presentation by an initiation Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to read the note number. DNA, note number 8, strain of molecule and that make up the chromosomic center of the cellular core within living being, and so where is contained the genetic program of organic bodies. In human beings, those extraordinary molecules determine our physical appearance, our sensory function, as well as our dominant reality. There exists within the DNA of human beings numerous internal programs that exist in a quantum state, like the source code that needs to be reactivated to access its multidimensional function and experiences. It is important an important rewriting of our DNA is now happening so that we may eventually access the fifth dimension. Day after day, soul, our sun, is activating those dormant parts of our DNA so that we may awaken the light of our soul. We may awaken to the light of our soul. This genetic transformation could be compared to move from a state of a caterpillar into a butterfly, or to transform a basic piece of chalk into a shining diamond. Return to my reading. I have decided to start that presentation by an initiation to space and interdimensional travel, with a method of creation of a short-form vehicle so that you may experience this by yourself if you wish to do so. This will be followed by some biological detail as to my own process. This book also seeks to answer 3 essential philosophical questions. Where do we come from, who are we, and where are we going? So I will also share a few advice and guidelines on how to operate within the unified field of the fifth dimension, as well as to introduce a few spiritual ideas and realities. I have also chosen to include notes because I sense that it may be useful to specify the context in which certain terms are used throughout this narrative. I will also include a number of illustrations to enhance its visual presentation, and I hope you will find those to your liking as well. To conclude this introduction, I wish to express my wholehearted devotion and my eternal adoration to my Creator, the Creator of all beings and all things. I also wish to express my deepest gratitude to my beloved spirit guides, note number 9, and to my whole spiritual families, note number 10, as well as the company of heaven. I would also like to pay tribute to Marianda, my mother, to whom I wish to dedicate this book, to my father, to my human family, and to all my friends on this earth and beyond. To all those who have shared, to all those who are sharing or have shared my life, and to say that each and every one of them is an irreplaceable gift in my life. I also wish to thank all the authors, the poets, the artists, the philosophers, the musicians, the scientists, the educators, and all other personalities that have participated and influenced my conscious development and my spiritual evolution. I also wish to express my gratitude to all those who have contributed to the realization, the publication, and the diffusion of this book. I hope it may bring joy to many, and it will be useful to awaken the collective consciousness as well as to the healing of the planet. End of chapter, end of introduction. I'm going to read the note. Spirit guides, note number 9. They are personalities, entities, or groups who have chosen to accompany us discreetly during our whole human incarnation. They do not live within our inner core, but they are indispensable companion and permanent guardian to assist us in the realization of our soul plans. We all possess numerous guides, as well as a guardian angel, a master guide, and a pathfinder guide. The more we are progressing towards the expansion of our consciousness, the more spiritual presence we will attract as well. Our guides are fully aware of our life's plan, and they know us better than we know ourselves. They are guiding us in accordance with our soul plan, and we must know that their service and friendship towards us is unconditional. It is wise to learn to communicate with them daily and to call on them regularly so that they may know that their presence is welcome into our life, as well as to inform them of our desires so that they may help us to realize them. Whether or not we may be aware of their presence, they will always do all they can to be of help in furthering of our life plan. They will never interfere with our free will, save exceptional circumstances. They are also there to straighten our light and to reinforce our connection to our I Am presence. Note number 10, spiritual family. It is essentially our soul tribe or our family, also called monad. Our spiritual family is often associated with one or more star nations depending on the origin of our soul and our choice of incarnation, in other words, before we have chosen to come into incarnate on Earth. We all have unique cosmic origin that differ depending on our spiritual lineage. We all have a spiritual soul family that influence the flow of our life from the subtle realm and that we are destined to reunite to at the end of time. Voilà, I hope you find this interesting. I will return with the first chapter. I'm just verifying that I have read all the notes. Yes. Well, thank you very much. I wish you a good day. Namaste.